The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's Nick Eatman.
Hello and welcome to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. It's Friday, December the 5th. Doesn't really matter what day it is. It's the day after. Cowboys take a big loss in Detroit, 44-30. Crazy game. And I kind of thought it would be a crazy game. You didn't know how it would turn out. Man, I fell for it. I fell for it. I thought the Lions had injuries. I thought St. Brown's foot was coming off. I thought they didn't have any offensive linemen. No. Okay. I don't know what that was another trick play by Dan Campbell and the Lions. They got us on that one. And as it turned out, the Cowboys were the ones that were down 2 receivers. We'll talk about that. Obviously, CD had a great game until he got injured. And then they needed someone to step up. Ryan Flournoy did. George Pickens did not. And that's obviously something that we'll discuss. It's been talked about a lot so far. With the Cowboys lose 44-30, what does that do for the playoff chances? Well, I know it hurts it pretty bad. I mean, they didn't have any room for error, and they had a lot of errors. 6-6-1. Just got to keep playing. 4 games left. See what happens. But obviously it's an uphill battle at this point. But you're not eliminated, and so they'll keep fighting on that one. And so I really hope we don't talk about any event in April. But some of you might want to. But I think the next big event is the one against, I guess, Minnesota in 10 days. They need 10 days. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to throw out any excuses. There's no excuses. But this team's played 4 games in 18 days, and it kind of looked like it. Especially on defense, the defense was the worst that we'd seen them play since some of the changes. Again, not an excuse. They just looked a little bit like a tired team, but the Lions have played pretty much the same schedule, and they didn't. They were a lot more energized, so give them credit for that. All right, 888-855-2297. Let's talk about it. Chris, Saratoga Springs, New York is first. Chris, what's up?
Not too much, Nick. That was a tough game last night.
Yep.
You don't win many NFL games when you turn the ball over multiple times and have so many self-inflicted wounds. I think last night we got the Pittsburgh George Pickens, not the Cowboys George Pickens. Defense didn't play great. Offense didn't play great. The tackles, for me, a lot of lookout blocks. Our offensive tackles need help. They didn't get much help, and it showed with the pressure they gave up. So we need to, I think, this season, it's a long road to try to make the playoffs. I doubt we're going to make it. I think we should focus on these offensive tackles in the draft next year for sure. One positive I have is my boy Flournoy, another great game by him. Very proud of that kid. He works hard. I wish George would have stepped up a little bit more. Other than that, again, we need to play better. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We got to play better, period. And that's really all I got.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Appreciate it. I know it's a long night for everybody. Now, especially my guy, Chris in the back. I mean, man, he's going to do this, 7 times today? And got I know it was 4 a.m. we got off the plane last night. But by the time you get home, who knows what time it is, and then we getting up for taking kids to school and all that. I say all that because I'm talking about Chris in Saratoga Springs and our next caller too. It's a long night for everybody, it's whether or not you go to sleep at midnight, 1, whatever it is. Games like that are tough, especially when you put so much into it. And so you can hear the frustration in Chris's voice right there. You just got to play better, and God, you wish those guys would have stepped up. And I said I'm not going to get into next year, and you don't have to, but we all know there's a big decision the Cowboys have to make regarding George Pickens. And a game like this, does it affect you? And not just the way Pickens played, do you have any other young receivers that are making the league minimum that look like if they give an opportunity, they can be a really, really big player? Does Flanoy change some things there? I don't know. But, I don't I'm not giving up on anybody or anything. Pickens is, you've got sometimes he's one way and other times he's other. We haven't really seen this a lot, but they just needed him to really step up. They needed him to make some big plays, and it just was off. He was open at times. The routes just weren't crisp. The slant that's just been killing teams all year just wasn't hitting the same. The deep ball that he kind of, it almost looks like he kind of tried to get out of the way, like it wasn't going to hit him. I'm sorry. I'm watching this offensive pass interference penalty on Ferguson, and I'm a little distracted. I'm going to go to Dylan, Northport, Florida. I bet he has something to say on that. Dylan, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Taking a drink, getting a little energy this morning.
I got you.
What's
man.
up?
Yeah, that wasn't pass interference. That was a garbage call. But who else was garbage, man? Was the kick team. And this isn't talked about nearly enough, dude. The Lions were starting at like the 40, 50-yard line every drive, and it was disgusting. It was a guy who looked like Schoonmaker returning kicks. And he's getting all the way up there every single kick. And it's like they need 20 yards and they're in field goal range over and over and over. And then on the flip side, I don't know what's up with Turpin. I don't know if it's just not getting blocked up right or what, but it's, he jogs up kind of to where the guys are blocking and just kind of gets tackled. And, that's kind of getting frustrating to watch. The defensively, corners are getting lit up. I would have liked to have seen them play more, press coverage if they were going to play so much man, just because Amon-Ra apparently had a hurt leg, but I couldn't tell. I don't know if there was some funny business going on with the injury report, some gamesmanship or what, but he looked totally fine. But, supposedly he's got a bad leg. Jameson's not a physical receiver, so I would have liked to have seen them play closer and at least challenge these guys. You can't play 8 yards off and just let them run crossing routes all night long. You can't cover 53 yards of the field man on man without playing press. It's just not possible. And then, the last thing, man, Shotty's getting a lot of heat for kicking field goals. I would have kicked every single field goal that he kicked. I was totally fine with it. I agree with what you said. I saw your tweet about just before halftime there about keeping the offense out to try to maybe take some more time off. But because of those field goals you kicked, you were in the game till the very end, right? So I'm taking the points there. I don't have any issues with that. But that's all I got, man. Dylan. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you. I'll address that part too because I wouldn't say heated, but that really was bothersome to me right before the half, and I think some of the responses didn't really get what I was saying. And I agree with you, Dylan. I think I would have kicked every field goal as well. Had no issues with kicking any of the field goals when they did. The problem I had was right before the half, and it's third down and long, and Ferguson makes a play and kind of gets, 10 yards or so and gets it to 4th and 4 with about 55 seconds to go, clock running. And I'm looking at Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell is looking across the field, and as soon as Aubrey comes onto the field, he calls a timeout. That is where I thought the Cowboys made a huge mistake. I'm not saying that you have to go for it, but what I would do is keep Dak on the field. Don't change the offense. Get up there like you're going to call a play, and you could call it if you want it. If you like the look, go for it. Probably what's going to happen, he's not going to call a timeout because he doesn't want to help you get a touchdown right before the half. So he's waiting and waiting. You get up there and you wait and you bark the signals and all that, and they don't jump. Then you call your timeout with about 28 seconds. You kick the field goal. You kick it off. Maybe you just boot this one out of the end zone, and you probably don't give up a field goal there. But that's right there. It's just that was my issue right before the half. Just a little clock management of just bleeding the clock a little bit. And that I thought that was a big mistake there. Obviously, they lost by 14, so that's not. It's not just about a field goal, but If you would have told me they're going to throw an interception right in the first play of the third quarter and give up a touchdown and go down 18, then I guess none of that really matters. But all right, let's keep going. Who's next? Kevin in New Jersey. Kevin.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was following up on last week's call where I was pleading for the Cowboys to show up last night. So I guess, last year when I came down to the game with the family and they only scored 9 points, that was frustrating. So I was hoping for something more than that. So in a way, I guess you could say there's an improvement. But, the glaring issue to me, and I'm calling because I was curious about your thoughts. I'm trying to wrap my head around what's going on the defense. I'm looking at it from a fan's perspective. I don't know all the details, behind it, but it just seems like a really kind of boring, conservative, zone scheme. And, it's reflected by maybe the lack of turnovers. And, I called a couple of weeks ago. I was mentioning to you about, how I thought maybe glass half full was Logan Wilson coming in to kind of take some of the pressure off of Overshown as he's coming back from injury. But I'm curious about your thoughts. What is with the linebacker rotation? I've always felt like when you have good players and they're solid, you keep them out there. But for the Cowboys, it's like every series they rotate the linebackers, and I feel like maybe that hurts them. Maybe they're not. I mean, I guess it's resting them to a degree, but it also feels like they're maybe getting out of the flow of the game. I mean, I don't want to single anybody out in particular, but I feel like they're really struggling in the linebacker position, especially in the middle of the field. There's all these crossing routes, and they're really taking advantage of us. I know, the Lions are a good team, right? So, offensively, they have weapons, but can you share your thoughts on maybe what you think about that linebacker rotation, why they're doing it, and maybe how they can possibly fix it? Because, like I said, I just think the defensive scheme is just old or tired.
Hey, Kevin, have you ever heard that phrase when they say if you have two quarterbacks, it means you have none?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
Like when a team says that, like we got two guys or we got three quarterbacks, it means you really don't have any. I wonder if that's sort of the neighborhood of what we're talking about here with linebackers. You got five. Are any of them good? Right. And I say that with everybody loves Overshown. Is he ready to play? Is he ready to kind of be that guy? He was last year, and I think he is. I think he's your best one. But it's like, who do you put in here? Who do you sit? Because nobody is. It's like. I've seen basketball teams like that where thanks for the call, Kevin. We're going to keep the lines going. I appreciate your call, and it was a really good question. It's like when you have some of the basketball teams that I followed when there's 7 or 8, 9 guys, but you don't know who the best guys are, and so you're like, what about this combination? What about this guy? What if these guys play together? I feel like that's sort of happening a little bit at linebacker. I don't think there's a huge difference between Logan Wilson and Shamar James, or Overshown and Leafau and Kenneth Murray. Every once in a while they all do something, and then they'll also do something. You're like, I don't know about that play. It does feel like Murray's the one that's out of position a lot. He leads the team in tackles, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It means he's out there the most, but. It's not a strong position. It's not. There's just no other way around it. So maybe Wilson needs some more time here. Maybe him and Overshown together. But that's always a tricky balance of depth and keeping them fresh, and also out of the flow of the game. I thought that's a great point. It's the way with running backs a lot. You want these guys that want this 1-2 punch, but at the same time. Is it really taking them out of rhythm? Let me go back to this. Really might go back to Dylan's call. He was talking about the corners and the crossing routes. The Lions have an unbelievable advantage, and I don't know why they haven't had some success here or more success this year, but Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute problem because. Obviously the most underrated part of his game is the way that he catches the ball out of the backfield. But the way that they lined him up. And I talked to a defensive coach before the game, and he said that he was worried about Gibbs as a receiver because they don't just line him up and then rotate him back. They line him up out there. And now, are you going to put a linebacker out there? You're going to put safety? It just changes the coverage. I hate to compare him to a Hall of Famer because he's still early in his career, but when the Rams had Marshall Faulk and they could use him like that, where sometimes he just would run a route, it just changes everything of what you're trying to do. He's a problem, and man, he was a good player. He was great last night. Aime in Napa, California is next.
Hey, good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Great in life, but not so good in football. I really think that, you're hitting on a lot of points, man. The linebacker play was not good. It hasn't been good. Our secondary was bad. I wish we would have took a page out of what the Lions were doing. And I know that they tend to press the receivers, and play a lot of man up. I wish we would have did a little bit more of that because we didn't have the room to allow guys just to kind of run freely. It seemed like all of our DBs were in a chase mode, and even our linebackers the whole night. And
but let me cut you off by that. And I'm not disagreeing with your point, but let's remember this: the Cowboys. How many sacks did they get? Cowboys, one maybe. I know one for sure. And the one guy, their best pass rusher, they only got one sack. And the guy that got the sack is the guy that the Lions didn't want. So the point that I'm trying to make is the Lions can play more press coverage because they've got Aiden Hutchinson. They've got some guys that can get home quickly. The Cowboys have James Houston, who the Lions didn't want. That's their best pass rusher, especially with Clowney out. You know what I mean? So it's tougher to play up there when you don't think your guys can get home, especially on the outside.
Yeah, but in the same instance, they were going to play that no matter what, and they just rolled the safety over the top of Pickens all night. Even when CD was in there, that safety still played over the top, and it was there was the Cowboys offensively didn't adjust from that, and I just didn't see why we didn't try to do more of that. Obviously, Gibbs was a problem, man. When he was in the backfield, when he went out, as a receiver, we weren't going to get away from that. And then overall there was just self-inflicted wounds. Ferguson didn't have his best game. No. Obviously they attacked Rebel. They knew what they wanted to do there. It was some growing pains. I think you hit right earlier when you said they looked like a tired team because that's what it looked like. They looked tired. They weren't mentally sharp. It was a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and it wasn't like they were out of the game. They were in the game the whole time.
Yeah.
They continued to kick themselves when they were gaining some momentum. So, man, I'm not upset about it. I mean, I'm upset about it, but in the long term, I'm still just let's play. It's going to be fun no matter what happens. Win out and don't make the playoffs. It's cool. Just want to see what happens. I see what the future is, and they got to figure some things out with Pickens, and for sure Sorensen got to go, the coach for special teams. He was the coach, the defensive coordinator out here with the Niners last year, and I watched him up close. He's not good. He doesn't coach up any of his players. The one kick right before half, Aubrey barely made that and it was the most easiest kick, and he goes up there. He's just going to make it automatically. And I just don't think Sorensen's getting the best out of the guys. Turpin seems like he's regressing. He's scared to return the ball or something where he's always wanting to call fair catch, then realizes he has room. So get rid of him. But, let's go Cowboys.
All right, appreciate it. All right, let's try to keep it moving. A lot of stuff there. Yeah, Ferguson. I keep watching this play on NFL Network shows it, and it sounds like that Brian Branch on that play suffered a torn Achilles on that play, the safety. But let's go to that play right there, that fourth down or third down call. The thing that gets me about that is that two officials threw the flag. Okay, one from the other side, one from this side. You can't tell me that both of them, well, I know that. We know both of them didn't say offensive pass interference, or they would have talked about it for 2 seconds. Instead, they talked about it for about a minute. So, to me, and as weird as this sounds, why not just say offensive interference and we have defensive interference? Those fouls offset, we'll replay the down. Because at that point, it just comes down to seniority, who's the loudest in the room, who can, dominate the conversation. Because what one guy saw it as defensive interference, one guy, and then the rest of the world, and then another guy saw it as offensive interference, and that guy's conversation won. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, he, if you go back and watch the play, the linebacker racked Ferguson. That's what happened. He got beat and he racked him, and then he's trying to swim through that, and they call that penalty. That's the worst call that I've seen all season long in the Cowboys games. That is the worst call. The second one is probably went against the other team. It might have been one of the Chiefs' offensive interference. Maybe I just don't like that play when Worthy got called for it against the Cowboys. I didn't like it when Pickens got called for it in the last night either. I thought that was a bad call. I may talked about special teams with Sorensen. It's not good. I mean, it's weird because if your kicker sets NFL records as the first one to ever make 3 kicks of 55 yards or more, he just casually hits a 63-yarder and then makes 5 field goals, and Sam Williams blocks a field goal, and you have a bad special teams night. I mean, that's hard to do if you're going to do this over here, but that's what happened. That outweighed all the good stuff that you saw over here. They couldn't stop this guy, and I mean, sorry, he doesn't pass the eye test for a kick returner, but he certainly, he was awesome, and just to the point where, man, Aubrey, just kick it out then. Kick it out of the end zone and go to the 35 if that's where it's going to be, So, anyways, all right, let's go to break here on Cowboys Storyline. I'll be right back after this.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Crown Royal and the Dallas Cowboys are bringing back the Royal Rig for Season 2. See it in action at AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving Day, where the Dallas Cowboys take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and around Dallas on November 26th and November 28th. Visit crownroyal.com to see where else the Royal Rig is stopping this NFL season. That's crownroyal.com. Please drink responsibly.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline presented by Gillette. I'm Nick Eatman. We're talking about the Cowboys' 44-30 loss to the Lions. Let's go to Sergeant Sue. He's been holding. Sergeant Sue, what's up, man, from Fort Worth?
At ease, everybody. How you doing, Nick?
How are you?
I'm good, brother. I don't want to overreact to this game as far as what I think that this team is, but it's really hard not to face the reality, which may be that we might not make the playoffs now. I do think that championship teams are allowed to have a bad game, that they're allowed to come out flat. But unfortunately, because of the way the season started, we don't have that luxury, to have a bad game. We didn't have that luxury to have like a little bit of a hiccup. I just think that Dallas just seemed to like really, really like to prove how resilient we are. And I think that we don't have to do that. Like, I wish we could have just come out and not have to face the self-inflicted wounds and stuff. It's just a little bit unfortunate. But regardless, I'm going to try to keep it positive as I always do, Nick. I mean, I'm still excited about how this team responds. I do think that they have the ability to win out. I never have been and never will be the type of fan, which is not wrong, but me personally, I'm not the type of fan that wants to lose out for a pick or anything like that. Like, I want to see how they respond. I want to see how they continue to build. Getting people back from injuries. Biggs is going to come back. Let's see what happens next, man. So I'm not hanging my hat up. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to say that the season is lost or tuck my tail. I'm ready to see how this team bounces back, man, and I'm excited. And hopefully the things fall the way that they need to, and we can still make a push. But if not, like I do believe in momentum, and I do believe in confidence, and I think that Dallas has the ability to build both of those going forward, man. I appreciate you taking my call, man.
All right, I appreciate that, Sergeant Sue. Good call, and and we kind of knew that this was going to happen, right? I mean, I don't think I didn't think they were going to just run the table. That's just not the way the NFL works, and they're not good enough to do that. I mean, they've won some games. They've won some games. Got some students coming through here. I guess they're on a field trip or whatever. So this guy right here, we need to sign him up. He needs to play. We need him on the defensive line. I didn't think that they would run the table. I really didn't. But let's not forget that Jake Ferguson fumbled on the final drive against the Eagles. It went out of bounds. The Cowboys go and kick a field goal. Pickens fumbled the ball, and Turpin recovered it, and the Chiefs, they kicked a field goal, and they were up by 10. The Chiefs didn't have enough time to come back. Last night, Ferguson fumbled. They recovered it. They go score a touchdown. Pickens fumbled. Tyler Smith picks it up, and I thought Tyler Smith was going to score a touchdown. But they've been playing this way. And the ball bounces it one way, bounces the other, and it did not bounce their way. And so my point is when you play that way, you're not going to win 7 straight. You're just not. So, but I woke up, I don't know, hour after I went to sleep, but I had a different opinion about it. I was a little frustrated with the team and this, just knowing what the loss meant and all that. But I had to kind of stop and say, 27-9. It's 27-9, and then next thing you know, it's 30-27. And as I wrote in my column, if you've read that, I thought the game was just an example of this whole season. I mean, that game was pretty much how you would describe this season. Same way. Started out, it's okay, and then it's bad. And then this is looking terrible. It's not looking good at all. Oh, man, they're going to get blown out. They're going to have a bad draft pick and all that. And then they suck you back in, and they're like, well, hold on now. Watch this. Boom, 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 boom. Wait. Is there a chance? Is there a chance they're going to come back and win? Is there a chance they're going to go make the playoffs? No, they're not. And the only thing about that game that's not going to be the way you describe 2025 is the way Pickens played. Because Pickens is going to have a better season than that. He's a Pro Bowl player. He's going to have a better season than that, than what he played in that game. But all right, let's move on here. We got Rob in Vegas.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, what's up?
Tough night.
Yeah.
It sucked. Unfortunately, we've seen this before. In these type of games, playoff atmosphere games, we lose the turnover battle and the penalty battle, and it kills us. And that's what killed us last night. As bad as the kick return coverage was and all that, it was the turnovers and the penalties. That penalty that Ferguson had, hands to the face, where we would have had first and goal because Pickens got the pass interference.
Huge.
That was nullified. And then Pickens doing some dumb stuff. You just can't overcome it. We're a good team. We're not a great team. What sucks is we're wasting another really good year from our quarterback, just like we did with Romo. We've had these, it's going to come to an end eventually, and it just sucks that we're wasting it. What else do we need? You got 2 number 1 wide receivers. You had a running game. Unfortunately, we improved the defense. Okay, we brought guys in to stop the run. Our pass defense is bad. We have nobody that could pressure the quarterback consistently. I don't care what they pay Bland. He's not an outside corner. You made the mistake of paying him as an outside corner, but he's not good. He's an average outside guy, but he's a really good slot guy, and that's where he needs to play. Overshown, he's not the same player. Hopefully he gets there, but right now he's not. And I agree with the other call up. Rotating linebackers is like what you said. If you're rotating guys, it's because you don't have one. Mm-hmm. And to talk about Pickens, being in almost 60, I grew up in the era of there was no free agency. So these players had nowhere to go. So, you could maybe, control them more or whatever. And I always felt I really didn't care what they did off the field. Some of the greats, we all know who they are, weren't the greatest off the field, but come Sunday, they were the best. And that's how I believe. But I kind of changed my stance on that because of the amount of money and the salary cap. So if we're going to look at Pickens, you have to really say to yourself, are you going to pay him $35 million a year? And now you have to worry about him like this. Because Lamb, you don't have to worry. We got lucky with him. And now with Flournoy playing really good, and don't get me wrong, he's probably playing really good because Pickens and Lamb are on the field. Pickens is there. So I've seen that story before where the third guy moves up to the second spot and, how come he's not as good? So I don't want to get rid of Pickens, don't get me wrong. But I'm sure you got to be leery of the money just because of the salary cap, just because of how much it eats up. I don't care how much he makes. It's so much like I don't begrudge these guys getting paid what they get paid. But it has to hit.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't hit, you're screwed. So that's my only concern. Let's see. He's got 4 games. Okay. He's got 4 games to really turn. Listen, he had a bad game. I think he hurt his shoulder on the first play. If you saw the way he fell, he had his shoulder pinned back.
Who?
And he Pickens. It's on the first play of the game or the first pass that they threw to him. He fell weird, and if you watch the replay, his arm, instead of putting his hand out, was tucked behind him. His shoulder took the full brunt, and you could see him shaking it out. So, I don't know. I don't want to make excuses, but it just sucked. It sucked. It's obviously. It's,
all right, Rob. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. You're right, and let's talk about Pickens some more. It is a very challenging decision that they've got to make, and I think what's going to happen, because when I ask people about it that are kind of in the know, they just kind of shrug like, franchise him. It's not that hard. You just franchise him. I mean, that's the response. So I think that's the answer there for them is, and honestly, it might be the best answer because here's what do we know? Is he a great player? Yes. Is he worthy of that kind of money the way he's playing this year? Yes. And does he help this offense? Yeah, he does. Are you scared to give him that kind of money and that kind of commitment? Yes. So that's what the franchise tag does. It's a lot of money. It's not 35. It'll probably be 27, 28, but it's 1 year. And then we'll see how he does on it. See how he performs, how he acts. I mean, he's missing meetings. He's being late to things. He's missing a bus. He's getting fined all over the place. And that's on a salary of about $1.5 million or $1.3. I don't know what his salary is, but it's not that much. But that's who you're getting right now. So give him that much money and see what happens. If it's a train wreck all year long, then, you have to figure out if it's worth it. Just like Rob was saying on the call, there's a lot of great players it was worth it. You know, he drive you crazy, but it was worth it. And another thing about the Pickens CD thing, let's not forget 2 weeks ago, we were sitting here going, what's wrong with CD? He can't catch the ball. Maybe you trade CD. I mean, that's the way it goes. You knew the defenses weren't going to continue to play Pickens this way, and they haven't. They've changed. And what happened? Well, CD's gone off the last 2 weeks, and he's went over 100 yards. I mean, CD was looking at a 200-yard game. He had 20 yards, and he got hurt in the second quarter? Like, he went for 227 on the Lions like 2 years ago, and he was probably looking at that again. All of those Flournoy yards probably would have gone to CD, or most of them. I mean, he was having a monster game. So then what would happen the next week? Let's say CD doesn't get hurt. What happens the next week? Oh, well, how do the Vikings? Well, the Vikings are going to shift it over, and they're going to cover CD again. And guess what? Pickens goes deep. I mean, that's the problem that they have. Some weeks it's going to be this. Some weeks it's going to be that. This one certainly wasn't Pickens' night, but, you know, start cheating back over to CD and see what happens. That's the beauty of what you have, and you know, it just wasn't his night. But you know, I think we've seen that he's going to be that kind of player. All right, Anthony in Miami, what's up?
Hey Nick, quick, what's up, my guy?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good, man. I just wanted to call in and say this much. I'm energetic callers, and I am. I wear that with a badge of honor. So I'll agree with Sergeant Sue. I don't agree that we're not going to make it because I did predict 10-6-1, and I'm not changing. So apparently I may not have had them winning this game. When you give 30-27, I understand people are mad, but it was 30-27. So that means you didn't lay down. So I'm hearing people garbage. I'm hearing people this. I'm hearing people that. No, it was 30-27. So that's not a lack of effort. You know what I'm saying? It might not be the result we didn't want. So I'm going with that. Now, on the CD thing, he just had 1,800 yards a couple years ago without GP. If I got to allocate anything over $28 million, me personally, and probably do, to him, no, I'm fixing other things. I got to get some tackles, and I got to work on my defense, that back seven back there. So that's just me. But anyway, I stay positive, man. 10-6-1. If they want it, they'll get it. All right, Nick.
All right. Appreciate the call. You know, they've been, you know, the underdog, you know, with 3 straight games. I mean, and those first 2 were close, but the Cowboys figure out a way to win at home. And, you know, now you're going back to home. 2 straight games, Minnesota and then the Chargers. So you're probably going to be favored in these 4 games. You know, one of these stats that I was looking at, it's just one of the things I wrote in my column. You know, you're like, oh, Cowboys lost 44-30. So time of possession, you know, they didn't have they won that. They actually had that by like 3 minutes. Oh, okay. First downs, no, Cowboys had that too. What about third downs? Obviously, third down. No, Cowboys actually had a better percentage than the Lions. Total yards, yep, Cowboys. Penalties. Actually, the Lions had 1 more penalty than the Cowboys, if you believe that. Dallas did have more yards, but Lions did have more penalties. Turnovers. 3-0. Just hits you in the face like Ferguson got called for on that pass to Pickens. And that was the theme of the night, just hands to the face. And you guys know me. You've heard. You know that's my least favorite penalty. It's the one that bothers me the most in all of football is hands to the face. I absolutely hate it. Not because of the way they call it. It's just a moving target. You know, if Ferguson gets his hand in there on defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson, just a little bit, that negates a 50-yard penalty here. David Montgomery can have the ball and just slub Marquise Bell right in the throat and the face. That's fine. No problem there. But heaven forbid Nate Thomas gets his hand up in someone's face and then, you know, or Pickens. Now, Pickens, that was a little – I think Pickens was trying to get his hand out of there. But it's just funny. Hands to the face is only a problem unless you run in the football. And if you're running the football, then just go ahead and knock out the DB with your hand. All right, Rick in Webster, Massachusetts.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I agree with Sergeant Sue earlier. Let the season play out, see how things go, and wait and go from there. But I don't know if you had a title, but I was thinking about last night. I heard this thing. I was going, hey, maybe this could be a good title. The Dallas Cowboys are the only Dallas Cowboys can beat are better than beating the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I'm saying is this.
I'm sorry.
We're the only team. We're the only team that can beat us better than anybody else can.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens. Thanks for the call. And I don't know. I don't know if you would say that they did that, last night. But Dak has 2 interceptions. That's the stat line you'll see. You'll see Dak. Dak had 2 interceptions in the game, but 79.7 quarterback rating, threw for 376, was running for his life. Those 2 interceptions, I swear. I mean, would we playing volleyball again? Is that what we're doing? I mean, seriously. And I'm not. Dak had some missed throws. I'm not saying he played a perfect game. He didn't. There was a couple of passes where he missed. CD's streaking down the field. He throws it out of bounds at the cheerleaders. He had some bad throws. He was under. I mean, both tackles did not play well. So that's never going to go well when neither tackle's actually blocking well. But the interceptions, I mean, both of them just go ahead. What are you, the setter, and you just lob it up, and the other guy spikes it in. That's pretty much what we were playing again last night. So that's another thing that he had to deal with. Again, I'm not giving Dak a pass. That wasn't Dak's best game, but just like Anthony in Miami said, it's 27-9. The next thing you know, it's 30-27 without CD, and they're fighting, and Flanoy's fighting, and they're trying to get back in it, and they did get back in it, but it just wasn't enough. All right, let's go to break one more time on Cowboys Storyline. I'll be right back.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for you. Gillette's Best Shave has a new look this season, and they've got one that sticked out in Cowboys colors just for us. We're going to want to run, not walk to this one, y'all. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor isn't just Gillette's best shave. With 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion, it's the best a Cowboys fan can get. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's Best Shave is also available as heated.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, back here on the Cowboys Storyline. Get a chance for a couple more calls. Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia is next.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing real good. It's very appropriate that it's a rainy day here in Georgia because it's a rainy day in Cowboys Nation, too. But you know what, Nick? I don't feel too bad, and I'll tell you why. It's a tough ask. Big physical game against Philadelphia. We win. Big physical game against Kansas City. We win. Going to Detroit, where you know it's going to be scrappy, you know it's going to be physical, and this was the game that I said we would lose because they had too much speed. It's our Achilles heel. It's been our Achilles heel all season long, right? Your coaches didn't have the worst game plan. You have a rookie corner out there, he's getting toasted. This game was lost and won up front on both sides of the ball. There's no 7-11 anymore. You don't have Trayvon Diggs out there. You don't have Micah Parsons. You can't get to a quarterback in 1.2 seconds anymore. Mm-hmm. And you leave them in the pocket, they're going to score. On defense, on our side of the ball, what can you do, Nick, when you have 2 Chaz Greens? You're forcing – I feel like that may have to start running a lot more because during that game, I kept saying, get the ball out, get the ball out, get the ball out. He had no time. I mean, poor, I think his name's Nate Thompson. He didn't even know where to look. Like, he was seeing ghosts. He was literally blocking nothing. And there was just a guy in Dak's lap the second he looked up. It was unfortunate. But we lost both sides of the ball on the offense and defensive line, and they looked tired. Your best defensive tackle was on the floor half the game. It's a tough ask, 3 very physical games back to back to back. But like I said, we lose this one. We don't lose any of the other 4 going forward. And we'll see what happens at the end of this. Yeah. You guys have a great day.
All right. Yeah, you're exactly right about that last part. You'll see what happens. I don't think the Chaz Green reference is fair. I mean, I really don't. Not calling Terrence Steele that. He didn't have a great game. I mean, he certainly didn't have his best game. He had he had a couple moments where, I mean, he had a couple of really nice blocks, but I mean, nobody remembers those. It's the other ones, and yeah, Dak was running for his life, and they didn't keep the tight ends that much to help with that, and it's tough. Having Turpin out there, it's got to be worth it. Because when you have Turpin out there, he's got to make plays, because if he doesn't, he's taking off a blocker off the field. So, sometimes you want him, sometimes you don't. Javonte, you want to maybe have him chip a little bit. And they tried. They tried different things, and it's not like they didn't move the ball. They did. They just they got, it wasn't even red zone. It was just late it was like 30-yard line or so, then a penalty, and that moved them back. And that's why Aubrey was kicking these 90-yard field goals. All right, Anthony in Columbia, South Carolina, our last call. Anthony.
Hey, Nick, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good today, sir. I'll make it just quick, man. Couldn't it be that the reason Dallas played the way they played last night and the way they play every year around this time is because of the 4 games in the 16, 17 days? I think those guys are tired, man.
Yeah.
And my question is to you would be, why do Dallas do this every year to accept a schedule like this to play the 4 games in the 16 or 17 days? Why don't they pass it around to other teams? Is it because the limelight, that Dallas like to be in the limelight? Is that why we do that?
Well, the Cowboys don't do it. I mean, they don't make that schedule, but they they do. Like I think that is a problem though. Is you have a short week, and then you come back, and then you don't give them a break. That is the biggest issue to me. Is not giving them a break, because it's like with anything. If you're going to take money here, at least you're going to save money here. But in this case, is that you get that 4 days, and then you got to play again, and then you got to play in 7 days. And so did the Lions. I mean, so did the Lions. Now, they didn't travel, but and I'm sorry we had to cut you off, because this we're going to wrap up the show. But you make a good point, but it's not one. I don't think this is the case, because they would do this with 32 teams. I don't think it's. Well, Jerry, here you go. This is what we've got. What do you think? No, I don't like this. Take this off. Move us to here. No, it doesn't happen that way, And so it's not an accepting the schedule type thing. Now, obviously, you can, raise your concerns and things like that, and I'm sure that happens. The Lions played 3 home games in a row. 3 home games in a row. One of them against the Giants. They barely won that game. Then Green Bay on Thanksgiving. That was a little surprising to have that right there. But it's player safety is a huge deal until we're talking about playing on 4 days rest and things like that. That was my first thought when I saw CD hit the ground. As soon as he hit the ground, I was like, well, you know what? He's probably not coming back from this. And then I thought, well, they do have 10 days. Maybe he can be back. Maybe he can be back in 10 days. We'll see how he is. But that is a problem. The Thanksgiving Day game, that's one thing. But then to not give them 10 days after that, then they got to keep going. It messes up the entire schedule. Sure that they get 10 days after it, but I mean, didn't do any favors with giving them, the 3 of the top teams in the NFL from last year. So we knew it. Like, that's the thing. When the schedule goes out, go back to May when it came out. What's the first thing? I know I said it. Other people said it right there. Wow, those 3 games in a row, that's just like a flashing light right there. Those 3 games. And guess what? They were. The Cowboys won 2 of them. They lost the 3rd one. To think that this team was going to go 3-5-1 and then come back from all the stuff that happened and beat the Raiders, then sweep that was probably unrealistic. It didn't happen. They gave it a go. It didn't happen. Is the season over? Nope. We'll keep it going. We'll see what happens. 4 games left. I think you guys, did a good job of reiterating that, and we'll see what happens. Don't leave me now. I need you for this final month. Hopefully the Cowboys can stay in it. I know you guys will as well. Have a great weekend. I keep telling myself it's not Monday. It's a Friday. Keep telling myself that. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll do it again on Monday. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you then on Cowboy Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!